is really funny that I am a 45-year-old woman and you wouldn't let me sit on this couch. Because you thought my feet were going to be...
Babe,
even though my feet are spotless.
me your feet. They weren't spotless.
Oh yeah, they're dirty now.
Oh
they're dirty now because I'm outside. But even before that, mind you, when you were at my house, my very expensive couch that was in my living room, which is also like
outside. There was no debris anywhere around us, and there were no kids running in and out from the pool.
You stomped all over my couch, and I didn't say a word.
My feet were spotless. My feet were spotless.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, I have something I want to talk about. So, we have younger cousins that are still at the very earlier parts of their life. They have not met their life partners yet, and they have to go through that whole journey. I've been thinking a lot what advice I would give that no one's asked for.
Oh my god. I'm so much.
Let me frame it. Interestingly, I've been married for 18 years. You've been married for
12. I just had my 12-year anniversary. We still haven't made it to dinner. We're gonna go.
And interestingly enough, ain't nobody asking us for advice.
Like, we're still gonna give it.
But we're gonna give it. And so this is how I framed it, which is if I was doing it all over again, right? Before I met my now amazing husband, if I was out there looking for someone, what is criteria or an assessment that I would factor into my selection process that I maybe did not appreciate back then, but now having the wisdom of 18 years of marriage, like what have I learned? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if it's silly or not, but like, talk about your love languages in advance. I think that's
so funny that you said that. Yes,
understand that.
The other's love language, because that was going to be my first one.
I didn't even know it was a thing because Imran and I are opposites.
Same.
Are you two? Okay,
Sarah, same.
What are you? What's your hobby?
So it's actually really, really interesting.
So funny when we're going to say the same thing.
We both have the same love language, which I think repels a little bit. It's fascinating, isn't it? Both of our love language is service. The way we serve each other is not necessarily romantic, right? Like, there is nothing I can ask of Wasim that he will not do that's practical, right? Whether it comes to child rearing, he's there, he's helpful.
He's good, very participating.
Absolutely.
Father.
If I need him to go do something, he will do it immediately, right away. When my family comes over, when friends come over, he'll be like, leave the kitchen, I'll clean the kitchen, I'll do the dishes. And so, like, he loves to serve. And, like, in a very self-sacrificial way, right? Like, we'll go out to eat. I'm really, really fussy about, like, my food.
Are you?
Are you for real, Sumera?
I know this.
I'm horrific. Horrific.
Do you get your food fat in? You probably
I'm
do.
sure I do.
Okay.
We went out for brunch yesterday and I sent back my omelet and it was stringy. And then they brought it back.
What's a stringy omelet?
Like, when you pick it up, it's like a little, I don't know.
There's no such thing.
Anyway, I did wonder if it was the cheese, but it doesn't matter. So it
is a cheese omelet?
It's a cheese omelet.
Who is this going to be stringy?
So anyway, I sent it back and they brought it back like a charcoal.
Can I tell you, by the way, Imran's biggest pet peeve,
sending food back.
or just saying a word about the food. I'm not allowed to ask questions. I'm not allowed to challenge or push back anything that shows up on the table. I have to take it exactly as is. It could have a turd sitting right on top of it. And he expects me to keep my mouth shut.
So we'll go out to eat, and no matter what he's ordered versus what I've ordered, if I don't like my food, it's like, just take mine. Or he's just really self-sacrificial and loving in that way, right? Like, or if he's eating something and he's on his last bite, I'll be like, give it to me. Like, he never says no to something I need or want. And honestly, I think where we both struggle is, like, neither of us are romantic. It's really, really hard for us. I think we spent the first 5 years of our marriage questioning whether the other loved us. And we have now finally, like, knowing each other so much better, probably in the last 4 years, have found such a beautiful rhythm, and we understand what the other one needs or wants, but, like, we're still not romantic people, we're not die-hard. But in any case, I wish I had known that was how he loved, like, 10 years ago.
Yes. So what's interesting about Imran and I, when all the love language stuff came out and, like, we did our quizzes, is Imran and I receive love very differently. And once I discovered that, like, the synapses were firing in every direction, all the dots were connecting for me, and I realized all the moments when I felt unloved or unseen or unappreciated was in fact not that, it's just we express love very differently. So, Imran his love language in terms of how he likes to feel loved is acts of service as well. Okay? If you know anything about me, I'm not a server.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Like that is very opposite of I am nurturing in my own way, but I'm not someone who's gonna like dote over you in that way, right? Like to give service in that way. That's his major. And mine is two things. It's physical touch, and the second one is
I hate physical touch. I hate it.
I'll tell you more about it. One's physical touch, and the second one is quality time. Like I want you to choose me as where you want to spend your time. So if it's a Friday night, like, hey babe, let's hang out. Let's go get dinner. Like choose me, right? And to me, that's a large signal of how you value me and what you think of me. And that's just not how he's wired. He's like, I see you all day, every day. Is it good enough? Right? Like, and so it's
you guys spend a lot of time
we
together.
do, but like, that's just, you talk about practicality. That's just because we live in the same home,
right?
I want you to choose me when there's a free Saturday night. Be like, hey, let's go do something, or and it doesn't have to be alone one-to-one. It can be with our children, but choose me instead of like, oh, let me see what so-and-so's doing. Let me see if he wants to grab a bite.
I'm Imran.
Yes, you are. And I'm gonna say, I have more to say about that. There's another parallel. It's the second piece of advice I have, which I'll come to. So outside of the home, I think I have a hard exterior, right? Like I am not a nurturing, soft, fuzzy person normally. And I am much more black and white, and I'm much more directive and all of that. But for me, as a person, when I enter my home, that's when I melt and turn into like mush. And I want someone, that's when I want the physical touch. I want to be hugged, and I want to be touched, and I want some of this, and I want some of, like, whatever, right? And that's what I would look for and want, and when I didn't get it, I would misinterpret what that meant. And same is true with quality time. I want you to choose me, because anytime I have a free weekend, I want to hang out with my husband, right? And so if I had known that way early on, God, think about all of the frustration, all of the disappointment, all of the noise, all of the unnecessary arguing and bickering that could be diffused if you just understood that about the other person. So my advice to folks that are still looking for their partners in life, once you meet somebody, I think it's an important conversation to have.
And I think it's hard to do that in the beginning, because I think we're stepping
freaking awkward.
No, not just because it's awkward, but in the beginning, Wasim was overly romantic.
Yes,
and love bombed, and I love bombed him, and I was.
Yes.
But like, so the product that both of us thought we were buying was not it.
Oh, it felt like a bait and switch,
right? Exactly. On both ends, right? And so he probably was like, what did I get myself into? And I was like, what? I mean, the first year, oh my God.
So now,
do you remember that time I called you and was like, you don't understand? He's like the worst. I need to get out of this situation. But
honestly, we have, knock on wood, we have phenomenal husbands and partners. It was just the growing pains of all of that at the beginning. And so, funny story for you is, this was not that long ago, maybe in the last year, Ron and I had the conversation about, like, what was a moment that we knew that the other person was the right person for us. And Imran told a story, and he was like, I don't know if you remember this, but in the beginning when we were sort of first dating, I was sick and I wasn't feeling great, and I was like, he was like in his house, and I was talking about how all I wanted was like something from Burger King of all places. Okay, gross. And he's like, 30 minutes later, my doorbell rang, and I opened the door, and there was no Uber Eats or anything. This was like 20 years ago, right? So I had left my house and I picked up the food, and I dropped it at his front step, and I left. And I just texted him or called him or rang the doorbell, something. And he's like, I came out and the food was there. And he was like, I've never had anyone in my life in that way that would take that extra step to take care of me. I cackled when he told me the story, because the person I am now as a wife couldn't be further from that.
Okay, but like, that is the person that you are, Sumera, because like, you have done the most selfless things for me. You are so, like, you gotta give yourself credit. Okay. You are so caring and thoughtful, Sumera.
Did she die? I don't know where she is.
You're just tired. You're tired. She was gonna be amazing, but then she had to go make a snack. That's really what it comes down to. Or like a teacher called, and like there's an end of year party.
When Imran told me the story, I laughed so hard. I was like, babe, I'm so sorry that you got
the totally see you.
I did a lot. I used to like when I mean, this is like ridiculous, but when we'd be going somewhere together, like I get out of the car and pump the gas, and he's like, what are you doing? It's total over the top. Now I'm like, we'll be sitting watching TV, and I'm like, dude, can you get me a drink, please? I'm so thirsty. And I make him get up and do everything. But it's just, bait and switch. But that's number one. I think understanding love languages. On that sort of same avenue, that same route is, it doesn't matter to me which framework you use. I like DISC a lot. I don't know if you and I talked about DISC, but DISC is no idea what it stands for, but it's one of those personality frameworks, whether it's Myers-Briggs or whatever, in which you can put yourself kind of into a category. The thing I like about this, because it's only 4 categories, it's 4 colors, red, yellow, blue, green. I talk about it all the time at work. I wish
you made me do it.
I did.
Once.
And you're green, which is interesting because Imran is too. And I wonder if the acts of service is then connected. And once you told me that about yourself, so many light bulbs went off for me too about who you are and how you operate and how you think and how you react to stuff. Anyways, Imran's a green, I'm a red. Opposite. Complete opposite colors in terms of like personality styles. Greens are very high EQ, highly emotive, can read and perceive very well, can think deeply about people and their feelings and their understanding.
Spot on. I'm all of that.
People's feelings are so low on my list, and not because I don't care about them. They're not even on my radar as a thing to think about. Right? Because in my head, everything is very practical. It's all business. It's bang, bang, bang. I am very rarely thinking about like how someone will receive this or where their frame of reference is or where they're coming from. And so again, if I had understood that.
Well, so what, tell me more about Reds. Like what is important to you?
Reds, practical.
Okay.
Competence. Being on top of your shit.
Competent is
yeah, she's very competent. Being on top of your shit. Being very...
I need more adjectives, like more descriptive.
So I'll tell you, the way that they typically describe Reds is shockingly dominant, controlling personality. So they typically will end up, a lot of leaders and people in leadership roles will be that, right? So you think back to me as a child, I was super bossy.
Oh my God.
Much to her expense, because it was this one that I was bossing around. And it's not because I'm a jerk, that's just my brain was just wired to sort of fit that hole somewhere, which is like any time that something needed to be figured out, like
unsolicited.
I literally have no control over it. It's just a DNA thing, right?
Oh my goodness.
So very super focused on competence, very focused on making things happen, getting things done, very action oriented, pushing things forward. It's also, we talked about this, I have a tendency to make things more complicated. It all comes from the same place, right? Everything has to be done right, all of that. And so we're just very different, Imran and I, in that way. But I also think that's what makes us such a wonderful yin-yang couple. And nothing would have changed about the journey we were on, except that it would have helped me process information better coming from him if I knew that he saw the world in a very different way than I did. If that makes sense. So I think
he doesn't care about people's feelings either.
He might be a red.
I would love for him to do this test.
You should do it today.
I would love for him to do it.
And I've thought about him, by the way, and in my head, he's a red or a blue. But like, it's not that I recognize that people have feelings and then I ignore them. They're just
not on your radar.
It's just not even a factor. It's not even a factor.
But I wish I was like that. You know, I think being in a supervisory role where I'm constantly having to give feedback, and I'm not somebody who shies away, like it's really important to me that I'm developing every team member to the best of their capacity to then go do whatever it is that they want to do, right? And then also to do the job that they need to do in the office and to do it well. And so I'm constantly giving feedback, constantly worried about like how to deliver it so that it'll be best received, and those are good qualities. But then once that is over, mulling over how I may have hurt someone's feelings and how I wish I could have done it better, and constantly being in the gray about that. Is that normal?
I think that tracks for how you're wired.
Yeah.
So like, the irony is, for someone that doesn't really think about emotions,
are you just like
No, just the profession I chose, ironically, requires all EQ, right? It's all EQ all day. So I had taught myself the skill, right? But it is not my default. I will spend a little bit of time thinking about how to package some information up to actually be received by the person based on their style. But like, I don't overthink it.
Yeah.
And after it's done, I'll also process in my mind how I think it went and like what I could do differently. But I also don't mull over it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I can let it go. Muller. I mull, and then I want to do it better the next time.
I will move on. I will be like, they're fine. They'll be okay.
I'm 11:30.
Yeah, they'll be fine. So that's the second piece of advice I would give for those that are looking for partnership in life that have not yet found it. I think these are things that some of it you just uncover organically, right? You're not going to quiz somebody on a date, but would it be the worst thing to quiz somebody on a date at some point? Because I think these things are really revelatory about what sort of compatibility you might have and just how to understand one another better. So I think that's my second thing.
Do you live with your mom? Do you live with the baby?
Imran, check. Oh my God! What other advice would you give people?
Let me tell you. I think it's so important to land somewhere in the same space about child rearing and how to raise kids and the values you want to instill in your kids. And that's because I wouldn't say he's more traditional or religious. He's neither. But he aspires for more religious cultural values to be
more religious or cultural? Or both?
I think both. So we send our kids to a weekend school, Saturday school, Sunday school, and I likely would have done that more of like a social thing to me.
Whereas for him, it's the actual knowledge.
Absolutely. But like beyond that, raising your kids with much more religious and cultural values that I think
would have important. I think that's a good one, and I don't think you need to necessarily.
I think you don't notice it because I think you and Imran landed in the same space about it.
No, not necessarily. I'll tell you. I'll give you an example, right? So I think he and I are pretty similarly aligned when it comes to faith and the role religion plays in our lives, which is we are not atheists. We believe very much in our faith. We're Muslims. We believe in a Muslim lifestyle to a limit, right? Like our faith is in a certain place. And we are on the same page about what role faith plays in our kids' life. They're doing their Quran classes and they're going to masjid school on the weekend.
When they enjoy it.
I swear our Quran teacher must have the most degenerate parent because we miss it left and right. But in theory, we try.
Yeah.
It's actually more on the cultural stuff a little bit. And in most things, we're okay. But starting to flash forward to the future. So my oldest just finished 5th grade. She's stepping into middle school. So we were like randomly, you'll have conversations about college and this and that. And I went away for college. You went away for college. I think it's an important rite of passage. I think it's an important thing for kids to go through in terms of finding themselves, growing, all of that. Is there some stuff that happens when you go away for college that you like can do more freely? Yes. But I still think for me the trade-off is worth it. And Imran is very traditional in that sense, right? So he didn't grow up with any sisters. And so I think in his head, the idea of being a father of 3 kids that are girls and having them go away for college and like what kids do, like he cannot wrap his head around that. And I am glad we started talking about it now so that we can start to work our way up. We have many years ahead of us to get there, but that's going to be a thing. And I am worried that we're not going to see eye to eye, and that's going to create a ton of friction 5-6 years from now. So that's a place where I see it. It's more the traditional side than it is the religious side.
So Wasim won't care. I think he'll want the kids to go to college.
So then it is more religion and not.
It's actually, I think Wasim's also an anomaly. Like there are things that he's like very, very specific about, and there's things where he's very lazy.
How the kids dress, all of that. I think we're mostly aligned. It's just like little stuff like that. What else? What other advice would you give younger people looking for a partner?
Having a common understanding of how you want to manage finances.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And because like if you're YOLO lifestyle and the other one is like save till you die lifestyle, that can create stress and tension. I totally agree.
Yeah. Or just even figuring out whether you want joint finances or to have separate finances and how to manage that.
I agree.
Those are conversations I never had.
I agree.
Now I'm stuck in joint finances.
Because Imran has his own business, that's separate, so that gives me a little bit of space to keep some separate, and then we have stuff that's in the middle. And so that little bit that's separate is great because that's where my YOLO lifestyle exists, in that little pot that is on the side. Otherwise, Imran is super cheap. He's like any husband.
Every man
does not want to spend
every mom, every woman I've ever spoken with makes me realize that my experience is not individual by any means, and all men think like this.
It's just
where can I save a penny?
Yes, all the time. You know, one other one I would say is it's so off the radar for people that are young, but I don't think it's the worst thing to understand what your partner's expectations are around how they will manage and support their parents when they're older. I think that's another one that's important to get on the same page because, you know, while you're younger, you're not thinking about those things, but sooner or later, as your parents age and they need help and support, whether it's physical care, financial care, or whatever it is, that's another. Or, you know, if your parents are unable to care for themselves, are you going to have them live with you? Or are they going to live with them?
Can I say something that I think is really like maybe controversial? I don't really think it can be the partner's business.
But if you're joint finances, you are. It is your business.
So it's one thing to like.
I'll give you an example, okay? God forbid, right? Anything happens to our parents anytime soon. You and I are both lucky that our parents are alive and well and in our lives. But like, if you're left with one parent,
you got to take them in.
But don't you need to have talked about that? Because what if the other person
then
is like,
they're the
hell no. But that's my point.
Yeah.
You should talk about that.
Then they're not the right person for you.
You should talk about that.
Yeah.
Because
because you should let someone know if you're not going to take their parent in.
Yes.
Like you should let someone know.
Or if that's just not the expectation. Or like if we need to completely take over the financial support of your parent. Like,
but you know what? I also wonder if that's an unfair conversation to have in the beginning. Because if you asked me when I was 29,
you wouldn't know.
I would be like, no, I don't want to take care of a.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right way is to talk about it. But that is a thing, maybe because, I mean, thankfully Ron and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
But I think about that sometimes. I'm like, what if we weren't?
Yeah.
Like, what if we weren't? And what if he didn't have a brother that was also financially stable enough that there wasn't all the burden on one family to manage all of that? And the burden is the wrong word because our parents are never a burden. It's a responsibility. There's only so many dollars in the bank, right? And so how you cover that thing matters. And I don't know how a younger person can have that conversation. But I do think it is something that is an important part of life that most people do not ever think about far enough in advance until it's right knocking on your door. And then it's like overwhelming to process all of the different things that you have to get your head around. So that's something that's been dancing in my head. Again, I don't have the right answer, but it's a thing. I think those are the main ones for me.
Yeah, same. Let me think. You know, the rest is discovery. The rest is discovery. And you know, so many times, like, I think you can be really honest about who you are. That's really important, right? Like, letting somebody know who they're going to marry. But so many times, you yourself are not fully self-reflective. And so, like, I don't know. And then you become different people every 5 years. Yes. And so growing together and constantly working together is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I really value where my marriage is now. And I didn't always value it. For a long time, I was like, I wish he was like this. I wish he was like that. And now I truly see all of the wonderful things. And the funny stuff, you hopefully learn to navigate.
I can say with full confidence, having met enough people in my life, that we got lucky. We have good partners. We have very, very good partners. There is no such thing as perfection. I'm sure that if we have a list of things that we're like, I wish
he did get a perfect wife. He got a perfect wife.
Opposite of what I was about to say, which is whatever short list of things we have that we're like, I wish this was different about my partner. I'm sure their list is as long, if not longer. And so, you know, we're very fortunate to have good partners. It makes a big difference.